Third fucking day in a row of profits, more than 10R across multiple trades. If you want to read markets like this, if you want results like this, if you want to be a top 5% trader, if you don't want to be a bitch, listen carefully, watch this video. I'm gonna show you exactly how my strategy works. To start off, we're gonna go over my premium group. All right, this is just 10% of what you really need to become profitable. Is your mentor not only showing you the theory, but also putting it into practice in the live markets. So as you can see, EU for news, we already had some rejection around this level, and I was waiting for a second sweep into it, right? The strategy is waiting for liquidities. We have liquidity above, liquidity below. We wait for one to get sweep, and then we buy or short accordingly. But we need that liquidity to not only be swept, but wait for another liquidity sweep, a second sweep into it, meaning it will trap the smart money traders, right? Because they will see this rejection, they will see internal breaker structure, they will immediately long it at an order block on the lower time frames right here. And we wait for that to get swept. So it's basically like a three-step. You wait for liquidity to get swept, you wait for an additional liquidity to be swept, meaning a smart money trap inside of it, and then you need some bias to be in your direction, meaning another liquidity target. We sweep on liquidity, and then you need that to give the fuel in order to reach your target, which would be another liquidity. You can see it's not edited, you can see the time, you can see the timer on the screenshot here, right? I don't have nothing to hide. Now, liquidities can be anything. It can be simple structure, every high and low, liquidity sessions, previously high, previously low, previous weekly high, previous monthly high. All of that stuff can be anything. The reason why I chose this one, and it's kind of internal, but we swept the Asia lows, right? So you all know that Asia sweep strategy where we sweep the highs, you look for shorts, you sweep the lows of Asia, you look for longs. Kind of like that, but as well, not every single person that uses it is profitable. You gotta be more wary of it, kind of like we do, waiting for a sweep of it, and then a smart money trap following that. And so we sweep it during the open of New York, and we come to an efficiency, right? Meaning this structure right here, the high of this structure right here, kind of like a high time frame order block. If we increase the high time frame, you'll see this block as an order block, all right? And also why we're looking for longs, because we have this structure right here. So the reason why I trade liquidity as well, and you can see this by the lines, perhaps you're telling yourself that markets are boring recently. In fact, the zones have been quite nice because we're going from one liquidity to another, to another, to another, to another, and right now to where? To another potentially. And then, because this is how market moves, sweeps one liquidity to sweep the other, right? And it won't go higher without sweeping something lower. Okay, so even if it's even if it sweeps the high, then it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to sweep this one, but it can sweep something like here, right? Always going from one liquidity to another. That's how I view the markets. And so with this vision is basically like the smart money traps, just on the high time frame for the zones, right? Trap, trap, trap. And the reason why I say that is because you have price sweeping something, doing a whole move, meaning a breaker structure here, and people will most likely be placing themselves here short with their stop losses just above this high. Because what? It took liquidity? Yeah, we're gonna probably go up there. For the XY, same exact thing. We sweep this high, we sweep this inducement. Coming to this, there's still an equal high above here, which on EU will equate to an equal low that there is on that chart. But because we sweep liquidity from above, I mean, we might go towards the downside liquidity, and we also have a high time frame liquidity below that. So there is a chance of the XY going down from here. And if the XY goes down, then EU goes up. And just look at this absolute rocket of a trade, right? Basically the same thing, because this was a trap. This will become a trap. And then with the same vision, I'm also expecting this to become a trap just because it's too simple and probably can't even do a ping pong from here. Maybe because it's more risky. As well as I know, there's a major liquidity around here, right? But you can either take it to smaller time frames, right? Because this was a trap, this would have become a trap, and it was, right? I'm already break even on this, so let's see on Monday if I can get a win out of this position. And as you can see, we have the double sweep right here, right? I want you to be expecting a double sweep on M5 at least, right? You got the candles, giving a reaction, and sweeping it again on a moment of news, right? Because there was news at 2:30, and then I just position myself on the breaker structure of this, okay? Because normally you can have two types of smart money traps on the lower time frames. I mean, once we sweep the liquidity. So once we sweep the liquidity, you might have something like this. The last structure that broke the liquidity, price moving higher, and then people might position themselves here and they get trapped, right? They get trapped around this level, boom, smart money trap, and then you have the correct bracket structure where you can position yourself. But there's another type of smart money trap that I also consider, which can be simply by the candles, right? You can have a beautiful candle rejection that just makes a long wick, and then people might be immediately buying or shorting from that level. So what I expect is the next candle or the next few candles, right, to just do another sweep to it. And one thing I found because of that as well is if you go to M15, you should be able to always see M15 candle sweeping the liquidity and the next M15 candle sweeping below or above that same liquidity sweep, right? So in here you kind of had this one sweep and then like second one, right? In here, perfect case of that, one, and then there was another one in between, but then two. I can even go to just the 26th, just a few days ago, and I can find exactly the same examples, like one sweep of liquidity, then it goes down, then it goes back up, right? That's a smart money trap for you. But of course, this takes time to learn. If you want someone to guide you to the path, if you want the whole recipe of the strategy, you can book a call down below. I'll be more than happy to help you in your journey if you're actually a serious candidate. I had one of my students that took it, and I also had guys on a community that also saw it, right? Because they have been learning from the channel as we teach real things over here, right? I'm not gonna waste your time with explaining you what's a pip, what's a session. None of that stuff will get you to profitability. So if you want to get funded this year, make sure you book a call down below, subscribe, leave a like, comment, stay active in this community, and also watch my channel. I'm super consistent with uploads, always leaving you a bunch of value. Hope you guys appreciate it. Let me know if you like these live trading breakdowns, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.